Everyone thinks they know how to make money in midterm rentals. Post on websites, target remote workers, compete with hundreds of landlords for literally the exact same guest. It's what every guru teaches. Here's what they don't tell you. This strategy caps you at maybe $30,000 per year per property if you're lucky. Meanwhile, there's a completely different approach that most people have never heard of that can generate $60,000 plus per property with less work. The reason why nobody talks about it is it requires you to think like a business owner instead of a lazy landlord. Most people aren't ready for that. There's two games we played in the rental space. The obvious game that everybody sees, posting properties online, hoping somebody books them. And there's an invisible game that big players use. Corporate contracts, guaranteed income, zero marketing, 95% of people playing the obvious game and wondering why they're stuck, while the other 5% figured out the invisible game and they're making serious money. I'm about to show you both games and you get to decide which one you want to play. But here's the thing. Once you see the invisible game, you can never unsee it. And you realize why most rental advice is designed to keep you small and actually not building a legitimate business. Let's start with what everybody else is doing wrong today in 2025. If you're new here, my name is Jesse Vasquez and I have over 20-something properties in California and Texas, and I built a multi-million-dollar corporate housing company, and I teach other people all across the US, in fact, thousands and thousands of people, to build midterm rental businesses like an actual business and not like a traditional lazy landlord. So I'm gonna talk about how small landlords actually think. They're typically listing on Furnish Finder. They're waiting for people to book their property. So if that's you right now, where you're listing a property on Furnish Finder, you're putting these beautiful codes together. And what I mean by codes is like you actually writing out through ChatGPT or through Claude some type of amazing thing about your home. It could be that it's got the fastest Wi-Fi on the planet and that it has a serene backyard. All that kind of stuff is really what a lot of folks do in this space. And you should be doing that when you start. And what they're also doing is writing individual messages to landlords saying, "Hey Jennifer, this is Jesse. I just want to let you know that my property is 0.2 miles away from the hospital and I have the fastest Wi-Fi on the planet." You're sending those over and over to guests that are looking for potential properties. But the problem with that is you're actually competing with 200 to 300, if not more people than you actually want. So every time you sent a message to somebody, let's just go again and say Jennifer, Jennifer's now looking at hundreds of other listings and seeing who's getting back to her fast enough, who's messaging her back, who's got the fastest Wi-Fi, whose price is the lowest. Because when you compete on this level, the small level, you're competing for price, and that's usually how it operates and how it works. One of the other things about this that I just absolutely do not like is that you're getting virtual tours from people that are in different area codes or zip codes, or not zip codes, different time zones and zip codes and area codes. But what you're actually doing is you're sending them virtual tours. It's 9 p.m. your time. You're sitting there trying to figure stuff out. That is absolutely not the way to scale. And you're also getting constant questions about, where do I park my car? What's the nearest places I can go to? What kind of coffee maker do you have? And you're just literally answering those messages all the time. And the other thing that I see with people that are the lazy landlord mentality is they're making maybe $2,200 per month per property, and they're getting that place booked for maybe 1 to 3 months. When I say $2,200, I mean, that's like the total amount that you're getting for a studio or a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom. And then after that, 30 days after they leave, you're back to marketing and doing the exact same thing all over again, screening your tenants, answering the messages, searching for somebody that's gonna wait to book your property. That is one of the most exhausting cycles on the planet. I don't know about you, but I absolutely do not want to run a landlord business like that at all. And one of the things that I wanted to make sure that I talked about, this is the most obvious game that most people play. And the problem with that is that you're competing with hundreds of other landlords just like yourself that are playing the small game every single day. And you're literally back to square one every 1 to 3 months. And that is just exhausting. So if that's a game that you like to play and that you actually enjoy and you want to stay small in that little bucket of whatever that smallness is, I urge you to continue to stay living in that smallness. One of the things that I wish to God that actually somebody said to me when I was early on starting my business is to think big. And that's one of the most important spaces of the midterm rental space. If your mindset isn't big for like lofty goals or what you want to accomplish and how to scale, you're going to continue to play a small game, especially if that's what you're actually not looking to do. So you have to be around people that are doing bigger things, which is probably why you're here on this channel listening to me speak about this right now. All right, now we're going to get into the juicy, big landlord potential that is, I hope that you guys pick up this mindset, and hopefully, you get to choose which landlord you decide that you want to be. The craziest thing about being a big landlord landlord is that literally one phone call, and that is with a construction company, a travel nursing agency, that you actually talk to the recruiter. You're actually going after these companies that, yes, it is hard. It's not an easy thing to do, but the level of the game goes up. We just talked about what a small landlord thinks, how a lazy landlord operates. I literally just connected with a company probably a month ago, and it was one connection with one guy. I ended up getting 6 properties booked for $6,500. 6,500 times 6. 6 of my properties were booked by one freaking phone call. You guys, I'm not good at math, but that's over $36,000, and I think it's probably 42 maybe even more than that, with a freaking phone call. One of the other things that is often dismissed and talked negatively about is the insurance temporary housing space. This is by far one of the most difficult, especially now, but it rewards much higher. The same thing that I talked about by reaching out to companies, you're gonna wanna connect with relocation specialists. Those are the people that are actually dealing with the folks that have lost their home due to a fire or flood, and you connect with them either through LinkedIn, or you're able to get a connection, or you go to your local insurance companies, you talk to adjusters, and you actually build a relationship with those individuals. And one of the coolest things about doing what I do, and a lot of my students do in the same space, is that we're not actually having to go out and find clients. Those clients are actually coming to us. We're actually attracting the clients. The background checks, everything's done. Like, those companies do those. I do them sometimes as well, but that's what I mean. Like, it's just a totally different level of thought. And the scalability when it comes to this, you're not dealing with different tenants. If you have renting by the room, you're not dealing with somebody moving out and then having to market all over again. You're actually able to scale, like I just mentioned earlier, with one connection, 6 properties booked. I don't understand why there's even a comparison to the game that we're talking about right now. This is the invisible game that most people are not playing. One of the other things that I really love about this is that I am not competing with the 200 or 300 other guests that are looking for a property, like we talked about earlier with the lazy landlord. Lazy landlords are listing on platforms, writing these beautiful little descriptions using AI about their property, and they're messaging all the potential guests about their potential of their property and how much their Wi-Fi is and how awesome the rug is and how they can bring their pets, which is good. But at the end of the day, you're not actually able to scale that type of business model. And the other thing I love about this is that I can be in a crowded market like San Francisco, like Los Angeles, like Denver, Colorado, anywhere in the US, and I'm not competing with everybody else that's competing for that same one travel nurse guest, Jennifer. I'm not competing for that guest at all. I'm playing at a much different game at a higher level, and most people are not competing at that level anymore. And that's what I really want you to understand, is that if you just play lazy and you just play simple, you're going to be with everybody else. So you're putting yourself in the same bucket as everybody else doing the exact same thing. And as this market continues to saturate, because it will, the midterm rental space is continuing to grow. I've been a thought leader in this space now for many years, and I see it happening in real time. So I'm telling you guys, as more people come in, you're now competing with more people for that same one guest. So as I said, this playing big is a completely different game. You are now going after clients, and it is difficult, it is hard. But if you want to build something that's successful, if you want to get rich doing this, if you want to sell a business, this is absolutely what you do. And again, as I mentioned earlier, all you have to have is one conversation with somebody to actually build a strong relationship. And I don't think most people understand how that can actually benefit you in the long term. You're actually working with companies that need solutions, and you are the solutions provider specifically for them. This is where most people get it wrong. They're trying to get their house booked. But what I do is I actually go into a market looking how I can serve these companies. What are their needs? How can I bring those needs to them? How can I find the potential for them? That's what a servitude mindset needs to be in this space. You have to be thinking about it like an actual business owner. And the other thing about this is that it's scalable in a way that individual bookings will never be. You'll never have to deal with the same things that you do as an individual landlord. Now you're probably asking yourself, well, why do most people choose the small way? Because it's easy. And I'm gonna be super honest about this, so don't hate me for it, okay? All you gotta do is list on Furnish Finder. You're gonna take immediate action, which is great. You need to be taking action, but it's easier. It's less money. It feels like you're actually approaching something and getting something done quickly. And yes, you can make money from doing this. I'm not saying that you can't, but if you wanna scale and you wanna build something successful or something meaningful or something that has potential for bigger or more, which is the exact goal, the bigger mindset of the invisible game, you have to be thinking about the big landlord approach, the business owner actual mindset, and that's the massive difference between the two. And to be honest with you, most people just aren't ready for that shift. They might list a property, hope it gets booked. In fact, I have so many people reaching out to me on a regular basis that will list their properties just like I'm talking to you about right now, and they're just like, Jess, call me when you get an insurance booking that's in this market. I need your help. Like, I need help with this. And it's because if you're playing small, you're just like everybody else in the same space. So now I'm gonna ask you, what game do you actually wanna be playing? Do you wanna be playing the obvious game with everybody else that's looking for small wins? And that's okay, but is that what you actually wanna be doing? Or do you wanna be going after the invisible game, being a go-to solution for big budgets in your actual market? Big budgets. Big budgets. Big budgets. I like the way that sounds. The crazy thing about this is they both work. There's not one better than the other. I think there actually is one better than the other, but one is a great way to start. The reason why I'm even bringing this up because I want you to have a bigger mindset, a bigger lofty goal that you actually see, and you're not gonna get it by playing small. And the craziest part about this is that one keeps you busy and the other one makes you wealthy. There's two distinctive patterns in those two different types of landlording. All right, so there you have it. Two totally different games, different results. Most people are gonna choose the simple, easy, basic, lazy landlord approach, which is fine, because that's how you can make money and you start to get going. But if you actually wanna play big and you wanna start thinking in a different way and you actually wanna create a business that can be around for a decade and you maybe make $1 million, make yourself rich and or scale, then I definitely think you should be thinking about the big lofty goal. In fact, I urge you to really think about that today because as I mentioned earlier in this video, I wish at the very beginning I had somebody that was able to say, hey man, give me a big giant noogie, you know? Any of you guys ever got noogies before? I have older brothers, so they gave me noogies. And just said, hey man, I wish you would actually think bigger. I wish you had the potential to be able to grow, which I think many of you watching this right now have this ability where they either want to get out of your W-2 job, you want to scale enough to actually get out of that rat race. And I've watched and helped and coached so many people do that. I'm going to actually leave a link down below if you're interested in actually connecting with companies, thinking big, creating a company of value where you're actually learning the scripts, what it looks like to contact these companies, how to find them, where to reach out to them, and how to stay on their Rolodex. I'm going to leave a link at the bottom. Join me if that's something you want to do. I think it is by far one of the best strategies on the planet to build an actual successful business. It's not up to me to decide. That's up to you. So you either want to play small and be a lazy landlord or you want to create something big and have big goals and actually scale. So links down below. I would love to see you guys in our community. It's by far the best in this planet. I mean, I don't even have anything else to say. We'll see you guys in the next one.